The political earthquake overnight, with word that the Department of Justice is investigating, has launched a criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. They say it's over potential testimony he gave over renovations to the Federal Reserve building. But Powell, in this extraordinary video statement, says it's something about completely different. He says this is about the Fed's independence and the Federal Reserve's ability to raise and lower interest rates independently from political winds here. With us now is CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell talks about Fed independence, right? How important do the American people think that is?
Very. And I'll just say, to quote the movie Tootsie, this is one nutty hospital, this back and forth. My goodness gracious. They think it's incredibly important that the Fed acts independently of Donald Trump, and they think it's best for the economy. We're talking about more than 2/3 of adults, 68%, 91% of Democrats, 75% of independents, and even 41%, 2/5 of Trump's base thinks it's important that the Fed acts independently of Trump for the best of the economy. So when you get 41% of Republicans and 91% of Democrats agreeing on something with 75% of independents, you know it is a popular position. The bottom line is the American people vigorously disagree with the President of the United States on this. They want a Fed that acts independently of him because they think it's best for the economy.
So the Trump administration very clearly, to an extent, picking a fight with Jerome Powell, a clear political fight, which has been at play for months, and now perhaps a legal fight as well. Who do the American people sort of pick in that fight?
Donald Trump is losing the political fight to Jerome Powell. I mean, you could just see it right here. Net approval rating per Gallup in December. Trump comes in at negative 23 points on the net approval rating. Way underwater. Jerome Powell, not the most popular guy in the world, but at minus 3 points, he's actually the most popular guy that Gallup polled of any of the politicians, any of the folks in government. He is far more popular than Donald Trump.
When it comes about the economy in general, how's the president doing now?
Yeah, I think this is, of course, a big portion of it, right? It's not just about the cuts. It's also about the economy. And you look at Donald Trump's net approval rating on the economy. He started off at plus 6 points. You go back a year ago, that was the reason why he won a second term in the White House. Look at this now. He is now 19 points underwater, swimming in the deep blue sea. That is a drop, John, of what, 25 points in just a year's time.
President Trump has made crystal clear that he wants lower interest rates. You know, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell is suggesting this entire criminal investigation is over the president's desire to get lower interest rates. What do the prediction markets think about whether they will get lower interest rates?
No, it's not going to work for Donald Trump. Take a look here. The chance that the Fed Reserve maintains interest rates in January, 94%, despite the threats from Donald Trump. It seems that Jerome Powell, the prediction markets think, will hold his ground along with the rest of the Fed.
Welcome back. 33 past the hour now. Former Congresswoman Mary Peltola, a prominent Democrat in the traditionally red state of Alaska, is launching a new Senate campaign.
It's not just that politicians in D.C. don't care that we're paying $17 a gallon for milk in rural Alaska. They don't even believe us. My agenda for Alaska will always be fish, family, and freedom. But our future also depends on fixing the rigged system in D.C. that's shutting down Alaska while politicians feather their own nest.
As the New York Times notes, Peltola's entry is the final puzzle piece of the Senate recruitment map for Democrats, who need to flip 4 seats this fall to claim a majority. The party has picked up top recruits to take on Republicans in Ohio, North Carolina, and now Alaska, but still faces intense primary contests in states like Maine, Iowa, and Texas. Chris Matthews, give us your take, please, on these candidates the Democrats are now running in these very key states.
Yeah, it's a great reporting here. First of all, I think the Democrats are poised now to pick up 30 seats in the House. I do that based upon the margins they've been pulling off in these recent elections, 13-point pickup beyond what the expectations were. That was true of all the states, including Tennessee and Miami and everywhere else. And I also think that if you look at Roy Cooper and you look at Sherrod Brown, it looks like they can win those states. They can win probably. The time has probably come for Susan Collins to check out. I think you can only get away with being the wrong person in the wrong state for so long. I think she's going to have to lose up there, just like Bobby Casey lost. Sometimes you just run out of time for your candidacy. And so I think the 4, if this one in Alaska is real, it's real because 4 was, as you said, John, that's enough to win the Senate. I think it's going to make it interesting that the Senate is up for grabs. It'll make everybody covering both houses a lot more excited about the prospects. But right now it looks like the sure thing, it looks to me, is a pickup of 30 seats in the House.
Yeah, Democrats certainly bullish about the chances in the House. They know the Senate will be harder, but they feel better with these candidates. Credit to Leader Schumer. Many Democrats tell me for bringing in this field. Of course, this is Senator Sullivan's retirement seat. Lisa Murkowski still there. Stepping away. It's his seat. This will be for taking on him. Murkowski, of course, still there. Chris Matthews, thank you as always. Let's turn now back to the legal questions surrounding the fatal ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
In our politics lead today, it was something of a down-to-the-wire decision for Texas Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to run for re-election to her House seat or shoot for the U.S. Senate. The Congresswoman announced her bid for Senate on Monday, joining an already somewhat crowded Democratic field. Joining us now is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. So congratulations on your announcement.
Thanks.
Your official announcement is just a video of you, an image of you, while insults of President Trump of you play in the background. Why that decision? I mean, one of your opponents, Tallarico, he had a video, him with constituents, him with Texans. Why you solo?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Number one, I wanted to do something different. Because number one, in order to flip the state of Texas, we're going to have to do something that we've never done. So I wanted to stay on brand with the fact that we would be different. I also wanted people to understand who the president sees as a real threat, and it is me. He also made it clear a number of times that he sees me as a leader. Those were his words, not mine. And so I wanted to do that. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to do a real announcement with actual people, nothing that was staged. I wanted the real people, and so it had to be in that moment. So I also wanted to make sure that we delivered a full speech that had all the substance there. So on that same day, if you were paying attention or if you were interested, you got the full meat of what it is that I want to do as the next senator in the state of Texas, as well as I did this with the people right there at home in my district.
So last night you told Laura Coates on this network that you don't need to get all the Trump voters in order to win the Senate seat, assuming you win the Democratic nomination. We should note President Trump won Texas pretty handily by about 14 percentage points. So you don't need every Trump voter, but you need a big chunk of them. Explain the math to me. How does any Democrat, but especially one who is progressive and outspoken, how do you win over Trump voters?
So this is what I want to tell you about. There's two things that we need to talk about that are separate things that I think both of them are necessary to win. Number one, we actually have to turn out more voters. If you do the research on the state of Texas, we typically rank the lowest in voter turnout, period, in the country. We've got to get that up. I want to say the most recent one that I remember, maybe a little over 50% of people turned out. When we looked at Georgia and we saw Georgia go blue, what they were able to do is they were able to get more people to participate. So that's number one. So for me, it was always about expanding the electorate. Number two, this is a great talking point that we have heard over and over and over, that maybe you need to sound like a Trumper so you can get Trumpers to be on board. But what we know is that there were Trump and Mondami voters. There were Obama and Trump voters. There were AOC and Trump voters. So a lot of people want to distill this down into something as simple as, oh, it's progressive or it's this. But the reality is that people vote for who they believe in. They vote for the people that they believe really care about bettering their lives. And what we know is apparent is that a lot of people have been turned off by Trump. When we look at Tennessee, I'm not asking you to look far north or over in California. When you look at the red state of Tennessee, he won that seat by over 20 points, yet it came within single digits. When you look at Mississippi, they flipped 2 Senate seats. When you look at Georgia on November 4th, they elected 2 Democrats statewide. So what I am saying is people are finally saying, you know what, even those that voted for Trump, because there's plenty that regret it. And I think that those people would be more willing to listen at this point. But I think you've got to expand the electorate, and you got to talk to anybody who actually says, you know what, he played us.
President Trump appears to be losing his grip on a group of voters that helped him win back the White House. Puck News obtained new data that shows Trump's approval rating among young men plummeted to 46%, down 10 points from last spring. This data comes from a major report by a Democratic-led project called Speaking with American Men. It also found only 27% of the young men polled said Trump delivered for people like them, while 26% said he's made an effort but hasn't delivered.